prompting me. I knew that I asked that, we start, but thank you, thank you, thank you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Prompting. Uh-oh. Now, what did I do?
The recording is still ongoing.
Yes. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Medical Mondays with Dr. O. I'm Toyin Opesomi, a family practitioner, HIV specialist, and I treat addictions in Maryland. I'm always excited to be here on Mondays to learn and to impact. Tonight, we have one of our daughters, a coach, a life changer, Mrs. Adeola Ali-Atekoja. And she's going to speak to us on something relevant to our lives as well as impactful to our health. I'm going to yield the floor to her because this is not a typical Medical Mondays with Dr. O topic, but a topic that is very relevant to our health and our well-being. So without much ado, I'm going to invite Mrs. Adeola Ali-Atekoja to take over the floor and bless us tonight. The floor is yours. You're muted. There you go.
Wow, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much, Dr. O.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me tonight. And I just want to say that this is it's one of the moments that I don't know how to express it, but at the same time, I just want to believe that our times together is not going to be a waste of time. And let me just go ahead and share my slide so we can start. Just a second, please. Okay. Yeah. Share my screen. Okay. How has our day been? Happy President's Day celebration. Today is kind of public holiday for some of us that have kids. We are all locked with them in the house. So, but definitely work still has to continue. I'm very grateful for this platform and for this opportunity. Thank you, Dr. O, for having me. And just to do justice to what I have on the screen and without taking our time, because time is very precious, I have the privilege of having a discussion sometimes ago with a coach, an agile coach. And in that conversation, I just discovered that the whole world is tending towards one thing. And the way I want to address this subject is to help us see the need for us to begin to pay attention to where the world is tilting to and not allow whatever we are finding or wherever or whatever the picture of what we are having as our current experience not becloud us. You know, I used to remember when we were in secondary school then, and they asked us to define what is health. I know some of us can still relate to that definition. It's going to go through a state of a physical well-being, mental, and, you know. So when we look at this subject of wellness and longevity, we are trying to address the root cause of what can actually bring us the real longevity and the wellness that we deserve to enjoy our life. You know, in this lifetime, every one of us, we are only given one body. And it's just like you don't have any other choice than to take care of that body, or else if the body say it's no longer ready to, keep supporting you, that means the person is on his way out. So that is why this topic is very important. And I just want to go to the slide. Okay. Okay, I didn't put it in slide control. Sorry, let me just quickly do that. Okay, so all right, so a little bit about me. A trainer. I would just call myself a change agent, someone that believes in how we can use the wisdom that is inside of us to bring about a change. That every one of us, by believing in ourselves, we can bring about something great. I happen to be a chemist. I read chemistry in my first degree. I have environmental management as my second degree. But today, it is just like a total departure from what I am now doing. And it is still in line with what I'm sharing today. And I want every one of us to just begin to see our journey in life to how where we feel is the in thing actually is not. And by virtue of what I do, I'm a mom of three and I coach and I help people discover their genius zone, help them develop it, and help them to package it and use it to impact their world for the good of all. And for the past half a decade now, one of the greatest things that happened to me in life was the fact that this truth that I've just shared, like I was a church girl and I was so high on spirituality, but I think there was a missing link in all that journey that I've said, that I got to a point, and this is where I had the hardest truth of my life, that you can be so strong in spiritual development and you can be zero on personal development. And when you see this at work, that is when you begin to appreciate the fact that when Paul was addressing some of the Galatian church, and he was reading out his profile, he was giving us a picture of somebody that did not even met, did not even see Jesus, but he got to a point where he was asking every one of us. He said we should all go to a point in our life. He's beseeching us to make sure we renew our mind, because there's something about our mind renewal and what it can do for us. So when I was going through that journey in circle, like I just said, I discovered that the excellence through which God expects every one of us to bring on in the marketplace or in the career place or wherever we find ourselves, I began to see that there's a gap for me. And that disconnect, it is not because God is partial or God is showing favoritism to some people. It is just a collection of the fact that you have not discovered a truth that's supposed to set you free. And that is just a common truth, that every area of our life where we are finding it's difficult to measure up, it is just owing up to the fact that there is a package of knowledge that is absent that we've not been able to take care of. And when light comes, you will discover that everything has been given for us to enjoy. It's just because you did not take cognizance to the truth that you are lacking. And one of the things that ignorance will do for you is that the cost of ignorance is so high that we don't want to assume that we know all. So every opportunity that we see where we can change our paradigm, our mindset, the way we see things or do things, we must never shy away from doing that. Because when we fuse our spiritual knowledge about God, so our mind renewal, we comes through knowledge, through training, through exposing ourselves to reading, and to many other ways. We are able to do what? Expel the ignorance, and we're able to do more. And we're able to become the good representative that God expects us to be on the plate, on the platform or wherever He has put us. And that is so important to me. And this is one of my coach, and I respect him so much, Tony Robbins. He shared this quote. He says, and it's all about the emphasis on fulfillment. He says, success without fulfillment is ultimate failure. So in all our bid to get ourselves the kind of life we want to be known for this, want to do this, we need to get into a place where we begin to understand the fact that fulfillment in life it's not the same thing as you just, okay, I've gone to school, I've studied this, I'm working, I'm having my bills paid, and everything is okay. I have been able to see some people that they have reached the crescendo of their career, up top notch, and it's still like there's something missing. And so when we want to talk about the subject of fulfillment, you can't take it away from you being able to attain a point whereby you find yourself achieving progress. Progress is equal to growth. And when you achieve success, there must be a place in you where you begin to find joy and you derive happiness in what you do. And when that is not found, what we actually find is the fact that you begin to doubt and you begin to feel like what is required for you to come on and begin to live that happy life, it's missing. And that is why I want to begin to see that what are the things we need to pay attention to that can help us become more exceptional at whatever we do, either in our job or career, in any area of our life. And when we are doing those things, what is the effect of the kind of result that we get when we do those things? Is it only just for the money, or we don't even love what we're doing? We just need to just show up. And I'm going to be sharing some of statistics that I have here that is the missing link to how we see wealth. And that is why it is important for us to pay attention. Now, I want us to look at how some of us, when we're growing up, how society have kind of defined the narrative of us. If you want to be a doctor, or you want to be a lawyer, or you want to be an engineer, we have positioned ourselves that, okay, go to school, then just get yourself the normal 6 years or 7 years, And what we see is that even though whenever, at the end of the day, we get to that place where we're already doing what we love to do, many of us, at that time when we are taking those decisions, we just feel we figured everything out and there's nothing missing. Like once you get to college and you graduate and you get a good job, and we don't kind of see the end totally, but we believe that what we have figured out, that is going to be the picture. But some of the thing that happens is that when we eventually get into the job, like you are now a doctor, you are now a lawyer, and I appreciate every mind that is here, that different mind that is full of different wisdom and that God has endowed us with. One of the things I see is like when you now start to see the reality of what the job or what that desire that you want to go to college to be is now bringing. In fact, some people don't even get the opportunity to even study, to go to get the job that's even kind of get them in line with what they actually studied in college. And this is one of the things that have been discovered, that have been found to contribute to some of the frustration that we're trying to address, which is an important fact that we need to see, that in our journey in life, many of what we desire at the onset, we don't get to get it. And I want to share this statistic with us, which is the Gallup Employee Engagement Survey. And as at 2023, this is the statistics that was shown, and it is kind of profiling the three types of employees that we have. We have the engaged, and we have the actively disengaged, and we have the not engaged. And I don't know if what you are seeing is shocking, or how do you kind of imagine that if you take the statistic of the United States, that when you take a cognizant view of employees all across the states, we have 50% of that total population not engaged. And let me just run us through what was found that, and the engaged, these are the, they are the excited type. They have strong connection. They are willing to invest extra hours in doing whatever they're doing. They have impact. They are high spirited. The atmosphere. They have everything going for them because it's like they are the type like I went to college to study this. I was able to get a job in that very field I've desired, and I'm enjoying doing that. And it's only few that can really, really have that. And if you're able to get that from onset, you're one of the most luckiest being on earth, because many of us, we didn't get to have the luxury of that. And it is a journey that eventually, when the dots finally connect, you'll be grateful that finally you are able to find yourself not now working, but you are now living, because there's a difference between job and a work. So the second one says the not engaged, which is forming the largest chunk of the population, and they are going to go to work, they're going to clock in and clock out, but the energy, the passion is not there. They just like the essence of going to job is I've just got to have a family to maintain, and which I can understand, which is relatable, but the impact is that there's reduced productivity. Many of them are just sleeping, working. They just come, they have to show, because without show, there's no pay. So, you can understand. But some of these things also, there is something that is underlying that this thing does to our entire well-being when we don't pay attention. And as a matter of fact, when we stay too long in that trajectory, when we don't allow our mind to program and process what we are going through and to see how we can make a better informed choice, we are going to be seeing some of the side effects of what this can lead to. And the last is the actively disengaged employees. They are not happy. They bring negative energy. They complain. And in fact, they are complaining even demotivate others that are doing the work. And the impact is that they bring toxicity to the environment, and there is decrease in moral, in the moral of the entire team. And I want you to just imagine if you have an organization and this is the statistics of people that you're paying salary every month, you can just relate to how much waste is going on then. If by the time you are going to look at it, if we add up what I've just shared there, 17% plus 50, look at the cost of actively disengaged and not engaged employees. And this is a huge amount that is spent on funding and financing them. And without much belaying the fact, I want us to just see some of the root cause of disengagement. And one of the research that was done says the primary reason for disengagement is lack of sense of purpose. There are other reasons and other factors that can attribute to this, but the main one is when you lack the sense of purpose. And it is essential to accept the reality of change. And that's what I'm trying to say, that when we get to that point, we don't need to deny the fact that this reason why I'm staying at this job only for finances can lead to misery. And the hidden cost of that continuous staying in such place is what many of us will begin to see as, when we begin to talk about physical, mental health, unhappiness, when you wake up and it's like the morning, Monday morning is like, you don't want to wake up and say it's Monday. And when it is Friday, you say, thank God it's Friday, like we jokingly say. But that's notwithstanding the toll that it has on the mental, on the emotion, and on the physical health of staying in a job that we don't want. And this is the health implication. There's decreased productivity, there's stress, and when you are stressed, each time they give you the work, each time you go to that place, it's like you are just you're not there totally. You're not 100% giving in yourself. And so there's not going to be happiness. There's not going to be fulfillment. So, and this is where I want us to begin to see what can be the way forward if we have found ourselves at this junction. And what I've just shared with you, I will tell you that this was my reality. This was my reality until the time came when I said, I think I'm going to give myself a pause. And during COVID 2020, I resigned from my job. It was not as if it was a big decision. I know there are certain things we want to do in life that there is need for planning. And to so many of us that are even at work, there can be a time frame to plan that we can begin to work towards. Okay, this job that I'm doing now, it is just going to be there for the next 5 years, for the next 3 years. And this plan, the transition plan, is for me to gather enough just to begin to fund what eventually is going to take me out of that state, because I cannot continue to work in an environment that is continuously adding stress, adding anxiety or depression, and everything that is not going to be totally wholesome to my body. Just like I said, remember, you only have one body for a lifetime. And if you don't take care of that one body, when it demands, when it comes with its demand, and when it comes to a point, and when the spirit can no longer, the spirit will not be able to stay, and that is death. And for some of us, we can relate that even it's not until when the eyes is closed and the spirit is gone, that is when death occurs slowly and gradually. And that is what we want to try and see. How can we begin to look for a way we can begin to change that narrative and come to a place where, even though society have taught us that go to college, study this high-paying job, high-paying courses, and then start working, which is not bad, but the journey into purpose is the secret to helping us unleash that longevity and that wholeness that we need. Because it is trying to bring us to a space where we will be able to connect with the deep core of who we are actually. And that is what I titled, I frame as living in your creative space. And when you look at it, every one of us as divine, as God has made it. When he created Adam, he put Adam in a garden. And there's a seed that is in man. And that seed, when you water it, it becomes a garden. And inside that garden, there are many trees. And in that tree, when you water it, you can imagine sitting down on that chair you are sitting down. That chair came from a tree, from wood, wood from a tree, and a tree from a garden. And somebody had to plant the seed. So look at that journey. And that tells every one of us that none of us have come into this world with an empty. And even though when we were coming out of our mother's womb, it's like our hands are empty, but there is something that God put inside of us that either through our career choice, our career path, or the channel through which we express it, it can be something that will unlock us to our covenant, to that purpose, or something that we need to eventually see how we can retrace our steps back. And when we get to that moment where we're able to begin to see ourselves truly showcasing that capacity to connect to that inner core of us, which is our creative space, which is where we flow from within, those things that bring the unique value that people just cannot resist about us. That when they ask us and they ask us to when they describe us, even though you said you're a chemist, I don't even see you mixing whatever. I can see this. And that is the quality of when people can see beyond what you label yourself as. Okay, this is what profession you are finding yourself, but that is not the total summation of who we are. And when we want to see how we can navigate this, it is us paying attention to what are those things that God has allowed to flow through us. What are those knowledge, wisdom, talent, and everything that God has put inside of us that, when we begin to recognize and pay attention to, It's begin to bring about a positive change that can embrace, that when we embrace, it can begin to unlock the door on the pathway to help us to deliver our best to our world. So what I'm trying to say here is that every one of us have got something. And if at all we have gone through life, our career path, our ladder is leaning on a wall that is not actually the capture, the fullness of expression of what we term to give us the fulfillment we desire. There is a way we can redefine our lives by deciding to embrace self-improvement and to continuously to discover and embrace growth. You know, every time you embrace growth, you self-develop, you make progress. And every time there is progress, there is happiness. It's like they're tied, they are intertwined. And so when you begin to pay attention to those things, you begin to see what can help you to deliver your best to your world. And when you begin to do this, it helps you to begin to forge relationship with people that are in need of what you have. And it comes in form of you empathizing. You know, you're not just doing what you're doing because you just have to do it or you are being forced to do it. It's coming from an inner understanding of what this thing means to you. And by the time you start doing that, you begin to redefine what relationship means. And I want us to begin to look at a scenario where everything that flows out of us, it is in line to seeing how we can make impact. You know, some of us, we find ourselves in a work in a work environment where maybe you have a boss that is just not, you know, some of us, we can relate. Maybe there's no how you can even thrive in those environments. They are just too toxic. There's nothing you do that you do well. It's just that you're always on your case, you know. And every of those things, they begin to make you lose touch with the real thing that you have inside, that is meant to make a difference, that is meant to help you make a lasting impact, that can bring about the bond of flow of the joy and the happiness that's supposed to be your day-to-day experience. And that is why when you begin to see what you can do, and I want to use these small acronyms to show you what this can unlock. When I was introducing myself, I wanted to put this, but I said, no, let me not. I was just going to tell you that, okay, this is what I do. I saw water. And how many of us can relate to water? You know, I'm having a bottle here that I'm holding, you know, and every one of us seated or listening now, we have all been through life. We have been through stories. We have been through experiences. We have been through different encounter at different stage of our life that we can begin to see how we can connect the dots, that you can convert your life lesson into a lifeline by learning, that we have a wealth inside of us. And that when I mean water, I'm talking about your wisdom, your advice, your training, and every of those educational resources that you've gotten. And once you are able to package it, it can be sold. You can imagine water flowing from river, what have you now, one of the closest river that we have. You know, that water, there's no how you can give a quantity, or you can give it, you can package it. That is how our ideas, like you can imagine you just giving people advice, giving people talk, it is still not in the best way until you are able to package it. Once you package it, it can be sold. So I'm trying to give us a narrative of how we can unlock our longevity and our wellness when it has to do with our mental space, by converting and begin to see how we can try adopting new things, trying our hands on, just trying new things, exploring some of those things that we've always had the desire to do, which before now we have put aside and said, maybe later when I retired, okay, when eventually I have this, by the time I have, and to just try and put those ideas, because they are like water. And once you're able to package it, you can begin to sell it. And I want to read somewhere in the Bible. It says in Proverbs chapter 11, verse 26, And that is the principle behind what I'm sharing with you, because you just imagine I sell water. Why will I be saying I sell? And in the NIV version, it says, the people curse him who holds back grain, but a blessing is on the head of him who sells it. Like I've just shared, that our idea, our skills, our expertise, our knowledge, our life lessons, every of those things can be sold. But it can only change lives when it is being packaged. I want you to notice that in these scriptures, it did not say blessings is on the head of him who shares it. I want you to imagine, why did it say sells it? And these are some of the biblical principles in the Bible that make us to appreciate the fact that God himself is an entrepreneur, and he desires and he expects that for every of our input, for every of our labor, there's supposed to be something at the other side, which is the value that we derive by doing something. You can imagine when I talked about the orange, if you want to get an orange juice now, look at the process that an orange will have to go through before you can have the juice, the orange juice that is, that is being packaged and we can just have in our home. So when we package our skills, our life experience, some of the expertise that we have, it's like we are bringing flesh. We are making, it says the word became flesh. It's like we are bringing flesh. We are bringing it to become life, something that people can hold. And it can be in form of books. It can be in form of speeches, that when you spend time now to document some of your life lessons, your story, your experiences in form of books, you have been able to package that experience that people can begin to, okay, this has been my experience going through marriage, going through life as someone that did not have a father figure. And these are the lessons I learned. For anyone that wants to go to college and you lack the father figure, these are some of the experiences that life has taught me that I'm willing to package so that people coming behind can be able to learn what they need to do to fast track that experience. There are many of us that have gone through experience in our relationship, either through our career path, maybe some of what you are saying, I'm saying, and you can relate. And you have just decided to just keep it, like what this verse 26 is saying. And I'm sorry, I'm not the one that says it. Says people will curse the person. There's a curse. So when you see yourself sitting on a gold mine of knowledge, expertise, wisdom, ideas, and you don't do nothing about it, there's no blessing. There's no blessings. And there are people waiting. Look at whatever speeches you must have listened to, or maybe you have had someone deliver. This is one of the things that you and I can do. Like, you have time, series, books, some of those things that you have documented in past, the first decade, second decade of your life, third decade, fourth decade of your life, 5 decades, and so many of those experiences that you have gathered, that when you decide to change just being passive about it, you will see that there are many lives at the other side that are waiting to learn from the wealth of wisdom that you have. And it can be through training, it can be in form of a course, it can be in form of coaching, giving one-on-one mentorship to people that needs this. And before you know it, and consulting, and you have shown a path, you can begin to consult people on how they can have solutions to this particular area, to this particular problem. And that is what forms the solution to every of the thing that we are looking out for. So one of the things that I have been able to do for myself, and which I am able to share, because it is not as if people can say this, you can say that, but have you really experienced it? What can you say about this? So I was also in the space of during COVID, and there was nothing to do. And I discovered that some of the lessons I have had coaches that have coached in my personal development journey. And when I talk, some people say, I just love your energy, I love your passion. I just told myself, I'm not going to just allow this to just end like this. I decided to start a YouTube channel, and it's a personal development channel that talks about how we can become a better version of ourselves in health, wealth, in finance, and in a robust relationship. And when I started doing those training, then little did I know that I was also doing indirectly what I've just shared. And I was giving those knowledge free. I was sharing from my heart. And then a time came, I have over 200 videos. Somebody just, I saw you have so many videos on that place. And what have you been doing with it? I said, do you know that you have more than 250 books there? I said, well, what do you mean? I said, all those things can become, and that is the essence of you having someone that can see, foresight, someone that can able to help you see some of the things we are just doing. Many of us, we are doing so many things, and we don't know that what we need is so close, but we cannot see it. Just like the story of the Hagar in the Bible, she was so close to a river, but the water in her eyes is preventing her from seeing the water, the well. I don't know if that is an analogy somebody is needing to go and reconsider again. That what are those things that I already have as resources that are just surrounding my path, but I've not been paying close attention to, such that they can begin to unlock and open the door to that fulfillment that we are looking for. Because it is going to come in simple things. It is not going to be, until I get the billions. It is just in you. Maybe just giving a smile to somebody. Someone just love your smile. When you come on, every time I come on, Dr. and when I see her smiling, there's something about the smile. She just bring it on. And you don't know that is a medicine. Maybe someone has had a long, hectic day, and it's just that smile alone is connecting something and it's unlocking something. And that is why the call today is for every one of us to begin to pay attention to ourselves and to see all the resources and stop saying we don't have, maybe I don't have this. You have a lot. And the reason why I'm encouraging us to go into this, because we are in the attention economy. We are in the attention. Gone are those days we talk about agriculture, the revolution, the days of industrial revolution, and all those things. And people are, industrial. People are just going to work. And if you have the factory, you are rich. In the industrial revolution, if you have a farm, you are a rich man. Today, the economy is shifting towards these new opportunities that technology is unfolding every day. We have AI taking the space of almost everything, Internet of Things, 6G, and so many of those things, narrative out there, that when we don't want to begin to feel like, see, this is not, I don't have it, we have to begin to pay attention, because the fastest way to wealth now is attention. And that is why you see that everybody is contending and competing for your attention. Have you noticed that the way that, get some of us before, when we talk about how I'm going to get rich, I'm going to think of, okay, when I go to work, I work for a certain amount of years, I save this amount of money, and I'm able to invest an amount of money. Are you able to see how 19-year-old girl, a 15-year-old or 7-year-old boy, just doing one simple, and because the video went viral, and he was able to gather, attract the attention. And because of that, he became wealthy. So, and that is what you are beginning to see, why you begin to see some of these companies now, they are no longer relying totally 100% on the legacy media, like going to TV, radio, or, print and what have you. They are beginning to go to those people that have the attention. And they are willing to pay them to be able to help them market and sell their product or whatever service they have. And that is why every one of us, we have something, and we should stop saying, oh, maybe I'm not good, I'm not cut out for this. I'm telling you, every one of us, whatever you have been able to learn, if there's anything you need to know, if it can be learned, then don't embrace that. Embrace growth mindset and believe in the possibility that you can learn anything and you can become anything if you can give yourself your mind. And the only you that you have not become is only you have believed this is what you want. When you change that lens, when you change that perspective, and you are able to tell yourself, there's actually nothing wrong with me. And every of those people that have this result, they don't have two heads. And so we begin to see we begin to see that narration change, and our experience will become better than what it is today. And I just want to say, in rounding up, that I don't know if there's anything that if I'll be able to make sense in one way or two, or maybe you can relate in a sense to what I've shared. I would just want to encourage us to tell us that our world is waiting, and there will never be a perfect time for you to start that very thing that you have been pushing aside, that is going to unlock the fulfillment that you need. And that is not in big things. Just having a church outing where you gather children, you just have affinity for children, you just want to see them smile, and you just look for something you can be doing in that area. And this is what I want to say. Every one of us must come to a point. The Bible we are reading today, some people took time to package it. You have to make up your mind to begin to see how you will learn. If it can be learned, then you can do it. To package, to price, to promote your own personal philosophy. Every of those things that you have long before now as something that you want, you have desired to bring it to birth, and you have been postponing, procrastinating, and saying, maybe this is not the best time, maybe next year, next month, next year, and that next, you don't know what tomorrow holds. And that is why I want to encourage us to just see how you can make up your mind to sell your own water. Begin to embark on the journey where you will begin to see how you can establish your credibility by packaging your wisdom, packaging your advice, your training, your educational resources, and everything that God has endowed you with, so that you can make our world the better place, so that people will be happy you came. And long after now, like people we are reading about, that they have all gone, they have been able to use their books, their work to leave a long-lasting legacy that people will continue to. And
you're freezing on that end. Adeola, you're frozen. You were frozen.
That must be network.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, don't be.
Okay, I think I'm back now. It's network.
Okay, fantastic. Go ahead.
Yeah, so the last slide, I don't know if my last slide was, but
yeah, we saw.
I concluded by encouraging every one of us to go ahead and embark on that journey. Think of that legacy project you're going to start. Think of that thing you always love to do, when people cannot talk you out of that very desire that since age 12 it has been in your mind, and you've not been able to give it time. There has not been any opportunity for you to bring it to life. I'm encouraging you with this shot to embark on that journey, so that you can begin to experience what it means to be fulfilled, and it will begin to change every of those things that we don't want to see in our body and in our health. Because the more of those things we do, the more happier we are. The more of those things we do, the more happier we are about the progress we're making. The more we're able to do more. The more we're able to do more, you just feel like you're not going to get old, because those activities is going to keep you engaged, and it's going to keep you wanting to do more. And that is the essence of life. That is the essence of life, making meaningful impact. And you can do that with your book and with anything you so decide. Thank you very much, man.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much. That was insightful. That was excellent. It seemed like you're talking to me. I can see you talking to Dr. Veronica. I saw her response. I think a lot of us here, you've really touched our hearts. You've been talking about us writing our stories, writing our book. And thank God for you, because the Lord has positioned you to be able to help people who want to write a book. to be able to write it, put it on Amazon, market it, and all of that. The Lord has positioned you to do that. So I'll encourage anyone on the platform who is willing to tell their story, who is willing to walk in their own water, walk in that water that God has given us, to contact a speaker tonight, Adeola Ali-Atekoja, and get assistance in doing that. I'll do same. So if you have any questions, please raise your hand. Since you didn't put it in the platform on time, you can just raise your hand. Okay, I'm going to ask you to please unmute and please introduce yourself, because it says Samsung SM. There you go. Kindly introduce it. Ah, that's
Thank you very much.
all the way from Nigeria.
Thank you very much.
I'll introduce him. That's Dr. Pastor Lekan Akintono.
Thank you very much, Auntie.
My heart.
It's so exciting being with you all the time. Actually, at the first instance, I thought, since I'm not a medical personnel, perhaps I will not be able to contribute so much. But today, this brilliant presentation, I give it to the woman, Adeola Ali-Atekoja. It's a brilliant presentation, and it has an impact in my life. Because I live in Nigeria, I'm a lecturer in university, and the environment is so frustrating. So frustrating. You can see the way I am. I have to put on a solar for it to be visible at all. I so much cherish that what you gave to us, that water, and some of the examples you have really given to us. But sometimes it's so frustrating when you package yourself. I'm a philosopher. John Locke says, the natural water there in the river belongs to nature. But the moment you go there, take it, put it in a container and bring it back home, that is when you can say, it's mine. That's where property, ownership starts from, because you have mixed your labor with it. And that is why I really cherish the philosophy that woman has really preached. But when you look at it, as a lecturer, the student we're supposed to impact on, they don't have the necessary facility. I was to take some students Friday, about 282 students, a very large class. You understand? I cherish imparting on students, teaching them. But do you know that hardly do I find about 10 of them feature in the class? What do you say to them? One, they may not have the necessary facility to join the class. You can see what happened even to the presenter at the tail end of the presentation. Network everything is a problem in Nigeria. Network, even for the student to buy data, to have necessary gadgets, you understand, to be in class with you. So sometimes the willingness, because happiness is a very essential thing to wellness. I derive so much pleasure when I'm teaching, but there is a wide gap between pleasure and happiness, because happiness itself is an intrinsic good, that is a good that is pursued for its own sake. But you see, poverty in Nigeria is something else. The more you package yourself to be able to be impactful, the more you meet up more challenges. There is a wide gap between theory and practice. So the way I see your presentation, it sounds so theoretical to me, but it actually encouraged me the more that I must not stop, because most of the things we do should be problem solving, to solve it. So the more we have these enormous problems around us, the more we think outside the box to solve those problems. So actually, I don't want to waste much of your time. Your presentation is so encouraging to me, because, before I became a professor, I was eager, trying to get to the top of the ladder. The first frustration I had was that you know how much a professor earns in Nigeria? My take home is less than 350. You understand? So the excitement of coming up the ladder to be mentors to some of these students. And there is a slogan in Nigeria now. Most of these brilliant students that we even have that we want to employ, they don't want to stay. You understand? You mentioned something that you package yourself, you sell it. Who do you sell it to? People are not ready to buy anything in Nigeria. That's why they Japan. That is the syndrome. Because you sell your value to people that appreciate it. So some of us that stay behind, it's actually frustrating. How do we really encourage these students? And this has a lot of impact on their wellness, on our longevity, on our health, on our wellness. So as brilliant as this presentation is, the problem I have is the wide gap between the theory and practice. So brilliant, but how do we put everything into practice? The more you go ahead and try to do something, the more you meet some of these challenges. So I thank you very much. And Auntie, I really appreciate, I woke up late. I really appreciate what we're doing. May God continue to lift you up. And I appreciate all the participants also. God bless you all. You are welcome.
Amen. Thank you. So, Prof here, yes, I forgot to say that he's a professor. His father is my mother's immediate older brother. My mom was the last child. His father was the one before my mom, same parents. So he's my bro.
Thank you, Auntie. God bless you.
I want to, just, put that out there. Thank you so much. What you just brought up is deep. And you talked about Nigeria, where people yapa, they come to the US, go to Europe. Guess what? We are having the same problems now in the US, where there are industries where you can get help. There are many hospitals now. One of my physician friends was telling me that in the imaging centers, where we do things like CT scan, mammograms, and stuff like that, that they don't have technicians. So to get an appointment to do important imagings is now very difficult because there's no technician to do the testing. So you brought that up in what you said. I'm going to defer to as amazing speaker.
May I make this comment before you go ahead, Auntie, please?
Please.
I observed the last presentation, the PowerPoint. This PowerPoint is so wonderful, very legible. And I want to commend you for that correction, please. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Professor, you see it now. You see it more than we do. So I'm going to defer to you, please, to comment on that. Yes, theoretically, this is fantastic. But how can we bring it to actualization? How can we actually actualize it? How can we make it practical?
Okay, thank you very much, Prof.
Especially in places like Nigeria and here too.
Yeah, I know. Let me try and answer it this way, sir. I appreciate that concern, and I know it's real. But also, as someone that is a church girl, I also want to take us to a story in the Bible that can use to explain this. Because there's nothing actually that is happening now that has not happened before. And it is in our paying attention and due diligence to how those men of old were able to figure it out and handle the situation. I can just relate this example to the story of a widow in this in 2 Kings chapter 4, and the story was a certain woman that married to a prophet. Can you imagine? A prophet, he's a Christian, and the husband is late, and now the husband is a debtor. He owed before he died, and they are coming for the children. You can imagine that kind of a dilemma. And what did the woman do? It's the same thing like what is going on in Nigeria now. She can hardly even support her family, talk less of paying the debt that And when she went to Elijah to go and complain, and that is the first thing. When you look at that principle, when you are in a state, when you are looking for a financial turnaround, or you are looking for something to change from what, it must come from you, willing, just like that Yoruba, they just say, Omotoba Shipa, you must make that commitment that you want to see a change. It's not just something we just talk passively and leave it. So she took herself away from her house, traveled all the way to wherever Elijah was to go and seek help. And the normal thing she was expecting is, the normal sentiment, bros, you bring out money and say, take. But Elisha did not do anything. Elisha, what do you want me to do? She was, Elisha did, you can imagine now, a prophet. Maybe the prophet is even a younger son, is one of those boys unto Elisha now before he passed. And Elisha said, what can I do for you? Tell me. What do you have? That is why I was trying to say our resourcefulness, no matter how dark, and I'm not downplaying what is going on in Nigeria. I'm not saying it is not real, but I want us to see how this problem was solved when something, and I believe you can relate with this example. And then Elijah asked her, what do you have? She said she only have one small pot, one small. Just like you have really said that you only have few people, and those few people themselves, they highly can. But the instruction was go and borrow. Elijah did not give that woman any money. So what is that principle trying to tell us? Number one, when we have that kind of a situation, you seek for somebody, you submit to somebody that you believe is an authority, or somebody that have an idea of the problem or the solution, the pain you are going through. Submit to his instruction. And everything that Elisha told the woman, she said, okay, you said you have one small water. Okay, go and borrow vessel. Go and borrow. So sometimes when God is going to help us, just like I was saying in the story of Hagar, she was crying, but there's something close to her, but she could not see. So there might be other things too, sir, that might be things that you can do that can also bring you. There's one thing that I learned when I was on this journey, that there are certain things you want to do for fun. You don't really expect it to bring you any money. There are certain things that, okay, I'm going to do this work for the next 3 years. I'm going to use it. The income, the proceed from this is going to be funding this. You have a plan. And the reason why I'm doing this is, so I can go and fund my passion. I can go and fund whatever I desire. But the truth is that we will always have something that there is no way that you will look around you will not have anything to start with. And it might be small, but you don't despise those days, that little spot. Because from that obedience of going to borrow, she started pouring. She said, shut the door. Just like you mentioned, you carry the water from the river, and now you have processed it to become something. So, and those people that you have at the moment might not be the people that you might want to write to for. Maybe they are not able to pay. You might be looking for another audience. There are many, I know you have so many expertise and you might have so many areas. So maybe they are not the one that you want to sell that part of expertise to bring the kind of money, or, that can also be. So it all starts with us sitting down and taking take an audit of all the things that you have, everything you have within you that you have been saying is small. It's one small oil, it's one small. And when she started pouring, what else? When she finished all the vessels she has borrowed, she came back. And what happened? The treasure, that treasure she was despising, Elijah was able to let her see that this small thing you call small oil is a treasure. Her eyes was open and she was able to pursue it. And from there, she and her children, that is the team. So you see how a company was formed, just because with that small bottle or with that small oil. That is the team. So you can also look at people you can partner with. Okay, this is the wisdom you have. okay, who are the people that you can partner with? They have a larger scale of maybe helping you to market, or they have influence in this area. They have this. Who are the people you can bring on board? There are people, they have money, they don't have an idea of what they want to use. Are there people you can also leverage on their money, or other people, and in that space, they got the job done. And when they got all what is next, in Elijah said, go and sell it. Go and sell it. Sell it. Settle your debt and continue to live with what is remaining. So in my little, I know I'm not the oldest person here, and I don't want to do as if I know it all, but the little wisdom that I have, that I believe that regardless of whatever and wherever we are find ourselves, if we can be resourceful with what we have, it has the power to take us to wherever we want to go to. And so we want to change. And I said growth mindset, believing and having a positive anticipation of what we want to see, and not choosing to zero in on what is the glaring reality. To believe in the fact that the word of God says, to every labor there is a profit. So every effort that I put into this is going to yield. And then opening up to having other people that can also help raise our hand. And I believe that somewhere along the line, it's going to work.
Thank you so much.
I'm able to answer.
I don't know if it's the same woman, but I know of a woman in scripture who, during the famine, they had nothing left. And she was going to eat a last meal with her children and die. And Elijah came and asked for food. She gave her last to Elijah, and Elijah asked her to go get, borrow vessels because she didn't have any. Asked, how many do you have? I think she had one. Said, go fill the house up, and blessed her. You are absolutely, I don't know if it's the same story, but you are absolutely right. God came to
rescue.
One thing I want to say is that in this world we have now, thank God for COVID. COVID did a lot of bad things and a lot of good things. One of the good things that came out of COVID is that the world has become one. It's become a melting pot. So you put your story, and you have a story. Because you're mine, I know that. You have a story. Put your story together and put it on Amazon, and it's on the world platform. It's not a Nigerian platform anymore. Anyone interested in it, anyone it can bless, it will bless, and they'll pay for it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I think that we, including me, this talk tonight has helped me open my eyes wider. I think we tend to box ourselves in a box or see what's not working. In a presentation, she did say, when those problems come is when we troubleshoot to devise solutions. And I think there are lots of solutions in this talk tonight that I'm going to go back to YouTube or Facebook to go listen again and, see if I miss anything. But it's clear to me. In your instance, Nigeria is not your only platform. The world is. So you have to look beyond that. Does that make sense?
Yes, that's true.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you for that insight, though, because I'm like, oh, wow, you're right. I just came back from Nigeria, and you are 100% right. Everything you said, So, Dr. Ezugu, you have your hand raised. Thank you. No, on mute. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Atekoja. Thank you for that presentation. And thank you for always referring the Bible for your citing, your ground. That's beautiful. Again, underscores that that vision will only come when you go to the Spirit, which is that Bible you're using, to give you the wisdom and vision to know that the world is your place. It's not local. It's not your room. It's the world. And that's why he put you here to make change. And when you understand that that change will impact life and make the world a better place, there is no obstacle that is anything before you. So things that you face, those challenges, no matter where you are, as a matter of fact, those challenges are opportunities.
Amen.
And so to really bring solution to those situations. And remember, if you are the small light in that darkness, if you remove that light, then darkness takes over. But darkness can never take over light. So you just have to be there and gradually, light others, light others, light others. And before you know it, the whole place is full of light. So I really appreciate that. I appreciate your presentation. And we also have to understand again, we are here to make those changes and not really look at obstacles as anything. If your goal is perpetual, all of those things you face are temporary. They will just come and fizzle away. And that primary thing you want to do as a change will stay. Again, thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr.
Sure.
for that encouragement. Dr. Ajagbe, kindly unmute. And
The seasoned author, right? Madam Atekoja, thank you so much for your eloquent and very, how will I put it again, very cohesive, and I have another word I want to use, and that is very informative. Informative presentation. There are so many dimensions to what you've shared. There is none of us who is devoid of talent. So we are all talented in different ways. And it's only when we are comparing ourselves among ourselves that we are not wise. So if we can embrace what we have and be grateful on a daily basis that, oh, wow, I like to talk to people on the phone. Well, like you said, maybe there is a way to monetize that. You can monetize anything now. I mean, with the technology that's available. Maybe you like to encourage people, like you want to be a coach. You want to be somebody who says, I've experienced this before, let me help you see it differently. Well, all of these things are opportunities there. And many of them don't require a lot of investment of, what you call front loading, which means you need a lot of money to start. Not all of them need a lot of money to start. They just need vision, because without vision, there's no restraint. I mean, everybody just does everything that comes their way because they don't have vision. You have rightly said so many of these things, and I just wanted to add a few things. One is distance is no longer a hindrance. I don't want to blow any trumpet, but I can say right here, from here, I'm mentoring some young doctors that we are going through stages of research because of my own experience of research for many years. So I'm helping them to understand what research is, and they are beginning to embrace it so much that you can't even believe that these people have other things to do. I give assignments online, through WhatsApp group chat. They present in a classy, I'm telling you, these are from Nigeria. And in the midst of all of these, unnecessary, headaches, that hindrances that you can see in Nigeria, they're still thriving. Because it's something that I told them, it has to come from within them. This has to be something they want to do. It's not something somebody can impose on them. So now they're enjoying that experience. and we are learning together, because now I'm seeing them in a different light. That these are people that some people will be saying they didn't even have good training. They didn't have all of this equipment. They didn't have all of that equipment. But look at them. The gem inside each of them is amazing. So I want to say that there are so many things that we can share with people. Sometimes it's not going to be, monetized, because sometimes we can maintain a balance of freely you have received, freely give. So sometimes you just give freely because you know it's going to impact somebody's life for the better. And so I appreciate what you've shared in terms of packaging and selling and all of that stuff. There will be need that people have, that they are willing to pay top dollars or top amount of money to secure that information. Another thing I wanted to share is that technology has made things very, very, very easy for a lot of us who have some kind of vision that we couldn't bring to forefront because we were limited by imagination of things to do to bring them up. But with the AI, like you said, it's amazing what I've been able to do with AI. Unbelievable stuff that I've been able to do with AI. I mean, incredible stuff. So monetizing stuff like that is not going to be a big problem, but it's just that if we are looking to, victimize one another, because I see dog eating dog, in most cases, Nigerian situation is a very peculiar stuff. People, they'll buy something for 10 naira, they want to sell it for 10,000 naira because they want to take advantage of somebody else who does not have access to where they got it from. So that is man's inhumanity to man. And that in itself, even though they are packaging it, they are merchandising those stuff, they're not going to get as much benefit, as much profit from it, because they are cheating other people who are undiscerning. So these are some of the things that we have to maintain balance when we do packaging and when we do all this merchandising. We still have to understand that we are ministering to other human beings. They are us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that insight. And so there are some that you give for free, and there are some that you can and should monetize. It seemed like you were listening to Dr. Veronica and mine conversation earlier today.
Yeah.
Does it sound familiar, Dr. V?
I think you have this power to send heart messages. I think that's what happened. It's incredibly, revealing and matches Dr. O. Thank you for this platform. It just every day it just unfolds that this is a good thing. Thank you. I really appreciate you. And Ms. Adekoja, wow, fantastic. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. O.
Thank you. Thank you, sis. So, comment. I'm asking you to unmute.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any comments?
Yeah, I appreciate what Dr.
Ajagbe
said. Like, true. For every one of us, when we desire something out of life, there is always the extreme. When people do things, the only thing that I just want to add to what he said, because it's 100% on point, and is the fact that beyond the gain, there is something else also. Like when you do something and you did not secure the peace that is inside, it's always come back. It's just like everything about us, when we take care of what the word of God says, he has a way of giving us the balanced perspective about how everything's done. So when you do outside of that thing too, except people that have their conscience that is deadened, you will know that this is not it. And that is why whatever opportunity that God has given us, we should make sure that we use it for the common good and because it is inside the word of God that says, even a man is served from the proceed of the field, that even a king. So you are going to get from it, you are going to, but we should not do it in a way that it's not going to, that's what I want to add to that. And it is very true that we should not take advantage. In the Bible, there are so many places that say, don't take advantage of the vulnerable, don't take, because there's a way, those things, you don't know how you even lose the money back. It's just like God has designed so many ways. You just want to do it the right way and just move on and allow his blessing to be on what you have and don't overdo it. And I think that is best way. I will just add to what he has said.
Thank you so much. We have on the platform Papa Mike Oye, and I just want to tap into his wisdom to see if he had something to share with us on this topic. What are we talking about? It's empowerment. Water. Papa, kindly unmute, sir. Thank you, sir. Welcome, sir.
I want to thank God for that young lady. She has really, got into the realm of serious, continuous development and resourcefulness. I am going straight to Africa, where God has so blessed us. We are a very rich people sitting and living in abject poverty. I want somebody to, all of you, to note this passage in the Bible, only 3 verses. Genesis chapter 4, verses 20 to 22. There is a man there who married 2 wives. That was the first polygamist in the Bible. And he had 3 sons. And God, in his artistic way, made sure that the 3 sons were different. Each one of them talented in a particular way. And each one of them developed interest in their talents and became great. So I believe that in a place like Nigeria, God has given different people, different cultures, different tribes, varieties of gifts, talents, and surrounded them with natural resources that will make their talents, flourish. But we are blind. Let me give 1 or 2 examples that can make Nigeria the richest country in the world. I wish I could divide myself into 1 million microwaves to tap all those resources for the good of mankind. Do you know that we have different types of grasses growing all over? Different types of plants. We call them weeds. But you know that they are not weeds? The moment you put a value upon a particular plant, it stops being a weed and becomes a crop. Are you with me? I could take only 10 weeds in Nigeria, publicize their properties, their usefulness, and get governments, state governments, to train agriculturists who will train local farmers to grow those things as crops and no more as weeds. And there's a world market that can even come through Amazon and other bodies like that, to distribute those things all over the world for health purposes, for pesticides, for herbicides, and so on. And all the unemployment in Nigeria will be solved because people with school certificate can grow it. People with first degree can grow. People with PhD can grow. The land is there. The land is fertile. We are wasting our resources every year. And what we do is to put fire into the bushes every harmattan. What are we purchasing? We are running after rats, tiny, tiny rats to eat because we have no foresight. If I see anybody terribly poor in Nigeria, I don't blame God at all. It's because we are myopic. So I thank God for this lady bringing this talk today. Just look around you and you see resources that will make you rich. What have you in your hand? What have you in your hand? Moses was told. I am philosophizing, but I think that we don't have God to blame at all for our abject poverty and misery. We need leadership that will open the eyes of our people to know their gifts, their resources, and to use them. I don't know whether I'm throwing a bomb.
No, sir. The right bombs are in the right direction, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank
May
you.
I just say one thing?
Yes.
My brother.
Yes, Brother Mike, you know, we already talked about something like that.
We better follow it up. We better follow
No,
it up.
I'm already following it up. I have already started. But anyway, what I wanted to add to it is this. Rather than blaming government, how about what we can do individually?
Oh, I'm already doing it. I'm already doing it.
No. I'm not saying you as a person.
Oh,
I'm
okay,
saying
okay.
we. I'm saying collectively.
Oh, okay.
Because see, like what you just said is what I had in mind. And I shared with you what I was doing.
Yes.
And then you gave some insight into what needs to be done. But what I'm trying to say is this. Instead of us complaining and complaining, there are so many things that have been shared tonight. One of them is, knowing what you have.
Yeah.
What do you have in your hand? If you have something that can be packaged, yes, package it.
Yeah.
If you have something that needs to be shared with other people so they can also grow, then share it. So rather than focusing on bad leadership and all of these things, we will always have bad leadership. I can tell you that. Do they not have? Do they?
I was just referring to that because I am like Jeremiah in the Bible. I am, lamenting. It's a lamentation. I don't depend on the government. I don't need them at all.
Yeah, I understand. What I'm saying is this: rather than for us, we can spend hours and days or months just talking about what is not right.
Yeah.
And it's not only in Nigeria, it's not only in Ghana, it's not only in Zambia. It's everywhere. It's going on in America. It's going on in Europe. It's going on everywhere. But the thing is this: the people that drive most economy are not government. So that is where the mindset in Africa has to change. We have to shift our focus from dependence on government. Government should make policies to help people to grow. It is not the government's purview to make sure that you become wealthy. That's not the government's job. Government's job is to make sure that they give you space to develop the talent you have within you without any fear of being of any kind of retribution or any kind of fear of insecurity, things like that. Making infrastructure to be available to grow such. Say, like, no matter how we want to dice this, we are grateful that Africa still has access to internet. Abi?
Yeah.
Maybe now we have somebody in Nigeria or people from Nigeria who are joining us tonight. Suppose there was no internet in Nigeria. Suppose there is no internet in Africa. They will not participate in what we are learning tonight. So we still have some infrastructures that are available to us that we can leverage and use to our advantage. And then we can move forward from there and encourage one, teaching one, if we can do it that way. See, if there's somebody I can mentor, I will mentor that person in the area that I know I'm strong. And that's why I'm doing the one I'm doing with the doctors who are doing research. So I feel strong in that area. I'm encouraging them, and they are embracing it with great joy. So let's do what we can as we develop the resources that we have all around us. I am already taking Brother Mike's advice on using what is available. I mean, we are surrounded by a lot of resources.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Thank you so very much, sir. The only thing, Dr. Ajagbe, I refuse that we would always have bad leadership. We won't.
Well, it's not a course. It's not a course. I'm just saying that people with bad intentions will always come towards the government. People who love the people don't have the guts to go into government. That's the problem.
And I disagree. I disagree.
Well,
but don't let's debate that on here. I just will say that I refute that statement. By the grace of God, we would have good leaderships.
Amen.
You are right. You're right on
Just say amen.
Yes, right on the money that we all have responsibilities to, and to develop the country and to grow and to be fruitful, to be rich, to have generational wealth. We have that responsibility, and thank God for the presentation tonight. And you're right, the government should provide infrastructure, but we will, by the grace of God, have good governance.
Please.
Everywhere.
Please,
go ahead.
Before Papa goes away, Nigeria, because I'm so interested in the two discussions between Baba and Doc Ajagbe. Please, you mentioned those weights. Can you just, if you put it straight on the platform, we know some of those things because I know we call them weights. Actually,
the weeds.
Yes. That can be transformed to be crops. We start from somewhere. We can begin to ignite ourselves to open our eyes to some of those things.
You are correct.
Actually, I love that statement from Dr. Ajagbe that government we should try as much as possible to be independent of the government. They should just make policies, even though most of the things they do are so stringent, so confining, that hardly can one really triumph in the country. But with your laudable ideas, let's throw it up. Let's see. Some of us here, we have our students here, which we can send into those things. You understand? Because I'm not too aware of most of these things you are just it's blanket statements that weeds. Weeds are just unwanted plants at a certain place. A weed here can be another thing. If you have a banana in the midst of mango trees, it becomes a weed. But it's not as if banana is not useful. So I will be happy if Baba can just mention some of these things, then we can open our eyes to it. Particularly, I'm a lecturer. Saying it, we have a lot of students here doing nothing. They graduate, they are wasting away. Okay, so if we can just kiwi into some of these laudable ideas, at least it will help a lot. Thank you, sir.
Let me quickly mention a few which can be started immediately without much capital at all.
Yes, sir.
One of them is ginger.
Okay.
Another one is turmeric. Turmeric is a friend of ginger. They are of the same family. Ataile pupa ni wọ́n pè ní turmeric. Ataile pupa.
Mm.
Now, I made a professor in Cross River State plant only 2 acres of ginger, and he was able to export it to Europe. After his retirement as a professor, that was what brought him a lot of income to maintain his life. A university professor, he was a sociologist. He supervised my PhD, but I created a job for him.
That was wonderful.
So, Mike, another thing that can be easily harnessed that people don't see are those tall grasses in the median between all the roads, like between Lagos and Ibadan. You see those tall grasses, if they are harvested and baled, they are good food for, livestock.
Correct.
And if somebody knows how to harness that, could you imagine giving the country free mowing? Do you see that? It is one thing leading to another. If I'm going to harvest something like that, I'm going to give free mowing to that median to prevent all those hoodlums from finding hiding place.
Yes.
Now, using one stone to kill 2 birds.
2 birds, yeah.
So you clear the area, it's clear. You can see for a mile or 2 miles ahead of you.
Mm-hmm.
There's nowhere for them to hide. Then you use the same grass and bale them up, and they are now useful to feed livestock. So now the Fulani herdsmen and all these people that they say are destroying people's farm, if they knew that those things were available, they would not be invading other people's farms. So I'm just saying that those are things that we don't even need to cultivate. They're already there.
Exactly.
They're already there. And like Brother Mike said, unfortunately, there'll be wildfire. Everybody would, some people would throw, just set fire on the grass during the Harmattan, and everything will be burning. You can see fire, for miles.
And buildings will be destroyed.
Those are acreages of economic, losses.
Exactly.
So these are the things that, we begin to see this, and that's where vision comes into the picture. Without vision, people will just, be running around amok, complaining about everything. So just the grass alone is there. Mm-hmm.
I want to mention a few more things because if I want to do the thing, I have so many which I can develop myself. So there's no point keeping things inside.
Mm-hmm.
Prof, are you still listening?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know why I'm so much interested, particularly what you are saying and what Dr. Atekoja has just said. I work in the Federal University of Agriculture.
Wonderful.
Some of the ideas.
Let me mention some things to you.
Yes, sir.
I hope you know that I'm an agriculturist.
I don't, sir.
I have a PhD in agricultural extension education.
I have to connect you. I'll connect you.
That's fine. That's fine. We will need you in our university, sir.
I will come.
Because
I will come.
Yes.
You come.
I can come as a visiting lecturer. I can.
Yeah. At least our discussion today, when I get to school, I will discuss with my DVC academics. Adebayo.
Yeah. Sir, you said you have more, sir. I'm going to connect.
Yeah, I have more.
Don't worry.
Yes,
those students can start with straight. Write this down. Tithonia. Tithonia. Tithonia.
Okay, sir.
Tithonia.
Yes. The Yoruba nickname is Derubaiba.
Okay.
Now, you will know it grows along the road profusely and obliterates other plants on the road, by the roadside. It has a flower like the sunflower. Are you
What's the
getting it?
botanical name?
That's what I gave you.
Titonia.
Yes.
Gaetonia. Okay.
You can look at it in the internet.
Okay, sir.
Just the image of Titonia.
But doesn't it look like
No, the flower looks like
yes.
Sunflower. The leaf is contorted. The leaf is not a straight line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's contorted. That's the way to identify it quickly. And it grows to a height of about even 6 feet. Yeah.
I think the flower looks
What do
like a
you use, sir?
black-eyed Susan.
No, but you know sunflower anyway.
Sir,
Yes, that's
what
what I'm
did you
saying.
use for, sir?
That's the common thing they know in Nigeria, sunflower.
Derubaiba,
Derubaiba.
which means it is good for malaria. That's what
Malaria.
Very, very effective for malaria.
And also for just fevers.
It has fevers and so many.
All kinds of fevers that people have, not just malaria, but if you have fever,
and then it's good for wounds. It's good for wounds, sores. It can stop bleeding.
Yeah, it's a hemostat. Yes, absolutely.
Yes, it's antiviral. It's antibacterial. It's antifungal. It has so many properties and grows only in the tropics. So it can pay in Europe, it can pay in America, everywhere. And it grows wild.
And that's one of the things I said. Sometimes you can do
many things.
Free. You have received freely give. You know, when you freely receive something like that you don't even cultivate, there is a way that you can actually make it to become useful to the masses.
Yeah, correct.
Because masses are ignorant of what it is, but once they are, informed, the masses can truly benefit from such.
Correct. Yeah,
so,
correct.
I mean, we are running around, people dying from all kinds of febrile illnesses, fevers, and not knowing that what they see on the street, that they ignore, is their savior for that moment,
Yeah. So let me quickly mention a few more.
Okay, sir.
Guinea corn, not the crop, not the cereal, not the seeds, but the leaves and the stalk. That is the byproducts. What should be burnt away is now processed and is one of the richest medicines for replenishing the blood. Are we there?
Okay.
That means it is a cure for anemia. It is also useful for patients with sickle cell anemia. But I use it in the formula for sickle cell. When Dr. O links you with me, we can discuss furthermore because I don't want to use this stage for a long time.
Right.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your wisdom. Thank you. We too will be learning from that. So that we don't take, too much from our speakers. Papa, appreciate you so much, sir. Thank you for always imparting in us. This is amazing. Adeola is one of my adopted daughters. And so I just got somebody say, you know, a presentation has awakened many potentials tonight. Thank God for her life. And yes, thank God for her life. And thank you so much, Papa.
God bless.
Thank you, sir. Prof, I would connect you to Papa. Don't worry. Go ahead, please unmute. Adeola, unmute. Unmute.
Wow. I'm just happy that inside this small space, the question that was asked at the beginning of the question and answer, you know, it just got, look at how God is just connecting the dots. Even though that's the title of my book, I can see how everything we go through in life, the first thing is when you make that attempt to seek for help, there's a way that God orchestrates things in our favor.
Absolutely,
So
yes.
I just see how that question traveled, and can you see how it is being captured? I'm so happy. Even if there's nothing that that I can take away from here, the fact that we are seeing it play right in our eyes, that there's no problem that cannot be solved if there's a will and if we are all ready to collaborate together. And in that space, I just want to share that if there's anybody that ever desire to write, to package his or her stories, expertise into books, and it has been a daunting task. You don't know how to start, you don't know where to start. You've always think it is not for some of, maybe you're too old or you're too young. It's for some set of people. I want to share that it's one of the pleasure that I have is to help people package their stories and skills into books. And if you would like to have that done, I can be reached on my phone. I will drop my contact. You can feel free to discuss and reach out. We can take it further from there. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate Father, you're able to listen to my little, and I'm happy that it makes sense. God bless you, everyone. God bless you, Doctor. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I thank you for, you know, doing your conclusion quickly. But Auntie Tawa, you had your hand raised. So are you still there, ma? I saw
Yes,
it.
yes.
I saw when you lowered it when the conversation got really
When it
serious.
started flowing, so I didn't want to interrupt. So
I saw that, ma.
thank you very much, Miss Adeola Atekoja, if I got that right. That was a nice presentation. I really enjoyed it. But I was not going to ask you a question. I just want to ask Papa Oye, Dr. Oye, some question, because today I was thinking, is this a coincidence, or maybe the road was mapped, just like she said? Because today, all I discussed with a compounding pharmacist was all this wheat grass, ginger, turmeric, and everything. And we were on the phone for like 2 or 3 hours just discussing that. So it's like, why? What a coincidence. And he mentioned something, we call it black seed. I've never had black seed. So I want to ask Papa Oye, what is black seed? And what is, because he said it's just like it's not moringa, but it's a lifeline. So can Papa Oye help me? What is black seed?
I have it in my lab right here. I have it in my lab here. If you need it, I will send it to you.
What is it?
Well, it's a plant which has got seeds. It's called black seed.
What's the use? What does it? Because there are so many things. Let me get the way I wrote all what you said.
The scientific name is Nigella. Nigella. Google it. Nigella. Nigella.
Yeah. You said black seed, turmeric, black turmeric. I don't know, black turmeric, ginger, garlic.
I've just mentioned the name Nigella.
Nigella. So what is it used for?
Black seed
N-I-G-E-double-L-A.
is Nigella. I'm going to connect you to Papa so that, unless somebody else is
I have Papa's number. At times we talk, yes.
So, Papa, what is black seed used for? Exactly is what she wants to know.
That will be a whole lecture.
Okay, so you have to connect to Papa.
All right.
We can discuss.
But one of the things it's used for is cancer anyway.
Yeah, you
Cancer
mentioned that. Yes.
Cancer and tumors. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you very much, Papa. And thank you, Adeola. God bless you all.
Thank
God bless.
Black seed is also known as black cumin.
Yeah, cumin. Black cumin. Yeah.
It's black cumin.
Yes. It's different from cumin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay. Auntie Tawa, Dr. Hannah just put this on for you to see. Nigella sativa.
Oh,
correct.
So
Correct.
5 boxes. It's black. Can you see it?
yes, I can see it.
Okay, cool. So that's it. And he can then talk to you more about it. Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up. We'll look up black seed. So thank you so very much. Appreciate you for tonight. I thought to bring something to Medical Mondays that is a little bit different. It still has to do with our health, because guess what? Health is wealth. If you don't have money, you'll get sick. And not even just physically sick. You can get mentally ill, that people would think something is really wacko. And it's just about not having, good financial backing or, resources. So when we talk about wealth also, though, it's not always money. It's a lot of things. So I thank God for my daughter, Mrs. Adeola Ali-Atekoja. I never pronounced that name right. Auntie Tawa just did it, and I got it wrong again. Do, right? Atekoja. Atekoja. Okay, so thank you so very much. You opened the whole world to us. And I pray that people will seize this opportunity to bring themselves to life through books, through conversations, through narrations, through whatever, shine where the Lord allows you to. So I will again defer to you to give us your closing remarks.
Wow. Thank you very much once again. No, I don't know what to say again, but in all, I'm happy that this is happening February. And I want to believe that before the end of the year, by the time we're going to be having the last Medical Monday with Dr. O, I want to believe that this conversation, when we remember February, and we're going to say, wow, see how far we have gone, because we all decided to take action based on what was discussed today. And there cannot be anything that can gladden the heart of the host and even every one of us that we are beginning to see how our collective collaborations is yielding positive impact and is helping us, reach more, cover more grounds, and be able to do more work that is going to make us proud. And I want us to see that everything we do with more intentionality, because it counts. Let's not be passive about maybe let's just put our mind at whatever we want to do and trust that it will work, to have that positive mindset towards anything and because we believe for every labor, there's always, so that input that we are going to put to work to what we've had today, let us trust God that it's going to bring back positive results and a better us come the end of the year 2024. Thank you everyone for listening. And if you need any help regarding to packaging your skills, selling your water, you can reach out to me. Thank you.
Please put
God bless
your
you.
information, your number in the chat box, because otherwise my phone will blow up. So put it in the chat box. And in the chat box, people are saying kudos, Lady Adeola. That's true. Wow, abundance. Great work, Miss Adeola. Incredible presentation. Thank you so much. That's Dr. Aluya, saying that. Dr. Ajay said different, right? This is different. It's right, the way you presented to us. And Dr. Jagwe said, thanks so much for the well-articulated presentation. Auntie Susan Oshifade said, thank you, Dr. Tekoja, for the motivating and challenging talk. It's been good for thought. God bless. Good food for thought, also, she said. And Sister Clementina said, thank you, that she agrees this is food for thought. Brother Oladile Gazelle, Dr. Gazelle from Minnesota, that's my brother, said, thank you, Mrs. Ali-Atekoja, for a very inspiring talk. 100%, sir. Sis Auntie Susan agreed with them. It's just been thank yous all over.
Thank you.
Although
Thank you.
I have a lot of things here about Atiku and our leaders and stuff like that. We have a lot of that. But Dr. V said, what a fantastic session with Mrs. Adekoja. Thanks, Dr. O. You bring joy to others as you do what makes you happy, using your blessings and that talent. Exactly what our trainer today identified. And what a coincidence for us, as we were just talking of it right before the Dr. O Medical Mondays today. That is the truth. We were just talking about this. And here we go. Dr. Aluya, kindly unmute. While you're muting, it said, excellent challenge thrown to all of us. You look amazing that, we've been challenged. That's Dr. Anna Ajay. Dr. Aluya, kindly unmute. Go ahead.
Yes. Well, good evening, everybody.
Good evening. Welcome.
Thank you so much. My very able, NAPAC Assistant General Secretary, she did an amazing job. I'm going to claim her. And she always does. She's a gentle, quiet storm in a cup. And that is me saying it in the most respectful and amazing way. You see her spirit speaks to you in person and even exude through to you online as well. I remember one of the times we met when we came for the Congressional Black Caucus, and we met at the restaurant. What's that restaurant again? What's that?
DC.
Yeah, in DC.
It was in DC. It was
It has a Nigerian name, but it's not Nigerian.
It's not Nigerian, yes.
I mean, and that's where, I could feel and touch her spirit. It's such an amazing soul. And it's evident that God speaks through you. And your mission is just beginning, and you continue to touch and revolutionize the world as you move on. And I must really appreciate, what you've done today. But to add to that, one of the things that we as a people must do, and I'll take it in two points. One, individually, as a people, we must begin to truly self-reflect who we are, what we're aiming for, and what we intend to achieve. There's a whole lot of obstacles back and forth, and some of the baggages that we carry along. Some of those baggages are intentional or non-intentional. Unintentional because you have the family baggage that you carry, in terms of you're feeding 5, 10 people supporting 5 families back home. And if you look at that, you begin to weigh, hey, should I pick up an extra job, or should I leave the 2 jobs I'm doing right now so that I can focus on a career that will take me to the next level? And that's the big dilemma that a lot of us tend to have. And that's that dilemma. You sit and think and watch over it for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. And in life, sometimes you have an epic of time. If you don't make the right move at that point in time, the time leaves you. And everybody has a time when you blossom. If the blossom time is exceeded, that's it. So, and that's why for those who are bold enough to truly take those concrete and difficult, often difficult steps, they turn out well. But the process of evolving, and that's what they call them, growing pains. Because we learned those were growing pains. Because as a child, when as you're growing tall, 6 foot, you begin to have pain in your knees. So those are growing pains. But those are the things that will take you ultimately to where you need to be and where you need to achieve that. But settling those inner conflicts within us is one. But some of the things that will help you resolve those inner conflicts are the background, your inner study that creates the core of who you are. And that core begins from the day you're in your mother's womb, the heartbeat of your mom that you heard, and the surrounding immediate family that you have, the support structure that you have, that eventually build you onto who you are. And those things that will help you make those decisions, whether they seem right then or not, difficult or easy, but those things will help you do that so that you have to take those stringent steps that eventually will decide where, hey, am I going to write a book when I don't have a job yet, or I'm working as a cleaner? But then because you have a focus and you know where you're going to end up with, you go ahead anyways, and you get there by all means necessary. And but all that beginning stuff that gets you to that point is what I've called, and I've given this lecture one time as well. It's called creating the leadership mindset. And I called it the 3 E's of creating the leadership mindset. The first is education, which is, formal and informal. And the second is exposure, because like you always say, exposure is the key. The next is another form of education, they say. And all those people who become great men and women have been exposed, meaning they travel, they go everywhere. Talk about Jesus Christ, talk about, Moses, talk about Muhammad. Mahatma Gandhi, any great stage who have lived have gone through these 3 E's of creating the leadership mindset that I've talked about. And the third one is enlightenment, a point of enlightenment where is this level of self-sacrifice that has a spiritual connotation that lifts you above somebody else or anybody else. And those are the 3 E's that I talk about of creating a leadership mindset. But coming back to that individual, one of the things in modern times that we as a people, when I mean people, Black and brown people, Black especially, and Africans, is the new nomenclature that is out there now. Emotional intelligence. And some of us must learn what that is, because it determines how you manage your emotions and how you also react and manage other people's emotions towards you. And it makes a lot of difference. And how to learn to be objective rather than being reflective, being emotional. And we as Black people, we often make decisions based on emotions. We often make decisions based on emotion. And that's why sometimes it's like an Oyibo man. That's what we always say. Oh, it's behaving like an Oyibo man. Because the white man makes rational, objective decisions. And they come up with them because they cross their eyes and dot their T's. We often don't do that well in our community. We really don't. And that's why I'm sorry where, as a defense, the next thing we hear is, hey, he's being racist because I'm Black. No, this is not because you're Black. It's often because you have dotted your I's and crossed your T's well. We see that in clinical research. You don't get the money because there are a lot of people, the competition, like you said, somebody said earlier on, the competition is high and technology has made it so much more. That's so much difficult. And if we don't prepare our children and learning words from what you have said today and getting them ready. I think at one time or somewhere, I gave a talk and I said, we are lions and lionesses, that we must learn to teach our cubs how to hunt. Because the world that we see now, it's a world that you must hunt to eat. You know why? Because no matter how bad the drought is in the forest, the lion will never eat grass. It will die of starvation. So the cub that has not learned how to hunt will learn to hunt lizards and rats. God forbid our cubs will never learn hunt lizards and rats. But what you said tonight, I hope you're able to take this on another level so that we hear this on bigger platforms, so that we begin to prepare ourselves, begin to educate those who are the lions and lionesses, so that we can raise great and impressive and well-educated, well-prepared cubs for the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ali-Atekoja. Thank you. Wow. The lion will never eat grass. It's the truth. God bless you. Thank you. Whew. Sister Karen, I saw you raise your hand. You know, I don't miss anything.
I did it by mistake. But I would like to say that the presentation was excellent. I thought it was very insightful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, going on, listen to this. Black History Month. We know we're still in Black History Month.
Okay.
Dr. Hannah Ajay said, Black History Month. Yeah. The better us. Yeah. Thanks much. She's referring to the empowerment session that occurred quickly with Papa and my cousin and Dr. Ajabe, I think. You know, we need to empower each other. Dr. Ali-Atekoja just expatiated on that. I don't need to go into that anymore. Again, I want you to keep listening. It said, Dr. Ajay said, excellent challenge thrown to us all, and that you are amazing. Brother Taye Doherty from California says, thank you, Adeola, for the wonderful presentation. Mr. Lawal from New Jersey said, thank you, Adeola, for such an inspiring presentation. We are all very appreciative. Everybody is appreciative. Thank you so very much. You have encouraged us. You have empowered us. And I encourage everyone on this platform to reach out to her, to dialogue. Write your book. Write your story. I need to write mine too. The program I went to on Saturday, I actually took notes. It says, what's your story? Write your story. So everybody stay tuned for my stories to come, because Adeola is not getting off my back. So it's coming. Stay tuned. So without much ado, Dr. Veronica says, thanks, Dr. Ali-Atekoja, for your brilliant insight. So thank you. Yes, everyone who participated today, you've been awesome. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. And till we meet again next week, please stay safe and stay bright and connect with Adeola Ali-Atekoja. I've posted information